Bitcoin. Full moon happening April 23rd. And these are the Bitcoin predictions based on the astrology of Bitcoin. Now, none of this is financial or investment advice. I'm Jack. I'm an engineer gone crypto astrologer and transformational coach. My mission is to help you succeed in the greatest wealth building opportunity of our lives, potentially, and be a change agent to create a better world. All right, let's take a look at the astrology in this amazing app here. We have the Earth, which is opposite the sun here, as you can see. And then we also have the moon that is on the other side of the Earth, which is exactly opposite the sun. And that is the full moon right there. And the full moon is in the sign of Scorpio. And at the same time, we also have just had this major planetary alignment with Jupiter-Uranus conjunct that happened yesterday. And so these energies are in full effect. And this is representing expansion with Jupiter, and Uranus is the planet of technology and sudden surprises. I know a lot of people are experiencing sudden surprises in their lives, strange twists and turns, things they never could have expected. If that is not the case for you, then you are one of the lucky few. But a lot of people are also dealing with a lot of intensity. We have Mercury has been retrograde for a few weeks now, and it's going to go direct on April 25th. So that should be a positive shift in our lives and in the markets. We also have the Earth, we have the Earth that is right here. We have the Earth and the Moon that are squaring Pluto. So there's Pluto way back there, the planet of transformation in the sign of Aquarius. It's going to be in the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years or so. So this is starting a new 20-year cycle. Huge energy here with Pluto. And the Earth and the Moon. The Moon, from the point of view from the Earth, is squaring Pluto. So that's a bit negative. We have some challenges here, some emotional intensity. It also could signify a bottom for markets, and we'll talk more about that. We also have, after this full moon, we're then soon going to have Mars conjunct Neptune. And if we have the planets start to move forward, let's go a little bit faster. We're going to have Mars get right up. And we're going to have Mars conjuncting Neptune. As you can see from the point of view from Earth, Mars is going to be right in front of Neptune here. That's a bit negative energy there in Pisces, especially with Neptune. That can bring a lot of confusion. Mars is the ego and does not want to be confused. It's the lone warrior. It's ruled by Ares, the god of war. So Neptune can bring a lot of confusion and emotions. So that also might not be the best for markets. We will see. Okay, let's come out of this one. Let's dive back into what we were talking about. So watch until the end, as I'm going to be coming out with the Bitcoin astrology predictions at the end of this video. So we have the full moon in Scorpio here coming up very, very soon. This is where the sun and the moon are squaring Pluto, just like I said. We also have Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's still in effect. Like I mentioned, actually Jupiter, is also the planet that has to do with kind of overinflation. We have a lot of overinflation in the markets. And then Uranus is the planet of sudden surprises, starting a new path, so blazing our own trail as individuals, but also has to do with technology and decentralization. So we're seeing a lot of that with crypto. So that's overall positive for crypto, I would say. We have Jupiter trining Mars. That's also a bit positive there, but it's not exact, so it's not like major energy. Then, like I was saying, April 25th, we have Mercury that's going to station direct. That will be positive, ideally for markets. April 28th, we have Mars conjunct Neptune. That's a little bit negative for markets at the same time. We have a lot of different kind of energies happening here, so it's a bit difficult to gauge what's going to happen. We have April 19th, we already had the Uranus trine the Bitcoin Saturn. So this is specifically the Bitcoin astrology. These are the planetary transits that are hitting the Bitcoin natal astrology chart. So we already have this in effect. Since April 19th, we got a direct hit here, Uranus trining Bitcoin Saturn. That's positive. April 20th, Jupiter trining the Bitcoin Saturn, also very positive. And we did see a pump with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's pumped up to around 65K, not so bad. But then on this full moon, April 23rd, we have Jupiter squaring the Bitcoin Neptune. That is quite negative there. And then to add on to that, we have May 2nd, we have the Uranus squaring the Bitcoin Neptune. Once again, Neptune is a planet that can bring a lot of confusion. And when we're talking about crypto and the markets, can bring confusion to the markets, and the markets do not like that typically. So we could see some negative price action here in the markets. We could see some continued volatility heading into May. Now let's look at the charts, shall we? Taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart here. I've spoke about this in many of my previous videos, but we are holding this line here. All right, we're holding above the 59,000 level here. We did dip down here a few days ago, but we are now heading upwards. And what we want to see, if we want to continue bullish price action, is we want to create a higher low and continue to create higher lows on the way up like that. And that would be the bullish scenario. And when we take a look at this, this Bitcoin price action here for the last few weeks, is we're holding this level here. When is another time in the history, in the Bitcoin history, that we saw something similar to this happen when the markets were very, very, very bullish? Crypto sentiment was at an all-time high, meaning people were getting very greedy in the markets. People were feeling very hopeful, very optimistic, and that was around here. This level back in, I believe, January 2021, where Bitcoin already hit an all-time high. And what were we doing? We were going up from that all-time high, bounce, and then going pretty low here, where there's a lot of fear in the markets, bouncing again before we head back up. And that looks very, very similar to where we are at today, where we have already hit that all-time high, and we are bouncing off of this level of resistance here. And so if we might see something like this, where we bounce and then we come back again for one more test before we slowly start heading back up in that stair-step pattern. Okay, and then we will also take a look at the astrology, what the astrology has in store. And if we look at the weekly price chart here, we are still in a fairly bullish setup. I mean, we're still at a higher low compared to this low after the Bitcoin ETF release in January. And then if we look at the monthly chart, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks up. And now it looks like April, we're finally April's not finished, but it looks like April was going to finish in the red. And that's potentially healthy because we do need a healthy correction here. In the last bull run, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks up before we saw, these are months. 6 months up before we saw 3 months down. So that is interesting to note there. And so April looks like it's going to be in the red. And we will then see what we have coming up in May in terms of the technical analysis and the astrology. Okay. Now let's head back to our... Okay. Now I also want to take a look at the daily exchange volume. This is something I've been keeping a very close eye on here. As you can see, the exchange volume was peaking out in March when we got the all-time high, and then it started to drop off very quickly at the end of March, heading into early April when we saw the Bitcoin price drop and the altcoins absolutely tanked when the exchange volume hit a low here, a local low, before heading way back up when we just saw the recent pump with Bitcoin, and the altcoins are now pumping. We're getting a nice little correction here. We definitely want to bounce and continue to head upwards because if we look further back in the history books, in the bull market back here in 2021, we saw a peak before we saw a lower peak here, and we dumped to this area here before we pumped really hard into a new all-time high for Bitcoin, and altcoins went on a huge altcoin run. So if we want to see that, we need to see the daily exchange volume pump very, very soon in the next week or two. Because if not, the worst case scenario, we could just be heading back down, kind of like what we saw here in the summer of 2021. The exchange volume just completely fell off, and Bitcoin and the altcoins saw a major, major correction. Now, I could also take a look at the averages for Bitcoin over the entire lifetime of Bitcoin. One thing that's very interesting is that typically we see one of the biggest peaks in the Bitcoin price action in April. But this year, we are seeing prices in the negative for the month of April for Bitcoin and altcoins, it looks like here. And one thing that, we're seeing a shift here is because we saw such strong price action in February, then we saw an all-time high in March. So these levels were much higher than usual. Then in April, we're seeing negative. So if we get a negative in April, could these average monthly returns at the peak in April and very high in May as well, could this carry on into May where we, instead of April, we get a very strong May heading into even June? That's possible. Or are we going to see another, a negative April and a negative May even? That would be very interesting. And are we going to see a slow summer? It's tricky to say, but let's take a deeper look. I also want to mention the Crypto Astro Bali retreat. All right. The early bird tickets continue to be available now in April. When you sign up in April, you get the following bonuses: a complimentary one-on-one private session with me, quick announcement here, 3 group coaching calls with me. So when you sign up for this retreat, you get these bonuses, especially this early bird rate. You'll get access to all of these. Call number 1, you'll get the Bitcoin Astrology 2024 complete overview month by month of this entire year for the Bitcoin Astrology, so you can prepare to make maximum gains this year. Call number 2, we'll do an altcoin analysis to identify the top 10x, even 20x potential altcoins here. And then call number 3, I'll go over your personal astrology in 2024 and even map out when might be auspicious times for you to make your own decisions whether you want to buy or sell. I can't give you financial advice, but I can help you make your own decisions that are in the best alignment for you. All right, these early bird tickets are running out this month. We only have 4 spots left. If you want to get access to this early bird rate before prices go up in May, click the link below, check that out, and send in your deposit, and you will secure your spot. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the Bitcoin predictions for this full moon, April 23rd. Well, this is very difficult to predict Bitcoin and crypto could see a dump at the end of April, around this full moon, April 23rd, or perhaps the next week, the final week of April, heading into May, because we do get some negative transits to the Bitcoin astrology chart, and we've seen this time and time again. When we get these negative transits, we typically do see a dump with the Bitcoin price chart. There's a chance Bitcoin could hold that 59K level. You know, perhaps Bitcoin will dump down to 60K or 59K again. But if we hold that level, we could then start to stair step back upwards like I was showing. And we could even see an altcoin run in May. All right, and I'll be coming out with many more videos about that. All right, so let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. Let's see if we have any commenters today. What probability would give that BTC does another dump to 59K? Yeah, that's definitely possible. I cannot give an exact probability on that, but it's definitely a possibility. I think we should be prepared for all scenarios. Be prepared for a dump, to that level. But also be prepared if we continue heading upwards. Is there another crash coming? It could be, but it might not be that big of a crash. It could just be another little correction down to that 60K level or 59K level. That's what I'm thinking, but I can't give financial advice here. No more crash. May is the start of altcoin insanity. That's also possible. We could see a pretty insane altcoin run, especially if we see this exchange volume start to pick back up. We zoom in here. You know, we have created a higher low here with this exchange volume. We pumped up here. We're dipping down right now. If this is just another higher low and we pump back upwards from here, yes, then we could definitely see that altcoin run. So that is definitely in the cards. I think personally, I am preparing for that. I personally think it's pretty likely that we are going to see that. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Definitely like and share this video. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more Bitcoin astrology videos, Solana astrology, Ethereum astrology. Got to put an Ethereum astrology video out very soon here. Share this with a friend or family member who could benefit, a friend in your network who's also into crypto and astrology. Definitely let's spread the word. Let's continue this momentum. Subscribe if you're new here, because I'm going to be coming out with a lot more high value content here. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And I'll see you on the next video.